Hello everybody. So I have created this chart to explain the chief competitive advantages of HIMS and why I think it's a business that is well positioned to win in the future of healthcare landscape. I've long described HIMS as HIMS equals an eDoctor plus an ePharmacy without insurance, and I consider all three of these things to be a benefit. And there's also efficiency aspects and market fit aspects in the fact that automated pharmacies are the way of the future. HIMS is going to be one of the first companies, in my view, that is going to be AI ready for when we inevitably have AI doctors, and insurance is going to be less and less relevant in the future. Unfortunately, but that is kind of the view that I see healthcare headed. So let me briefly tell you more about what I think about each of these boxes. So first of all, HIMS is an eDoctors, ePharmacy, no insurance. That's this equation together. eDoctors. What are the benefits of eDoctors? Well, you see a doctor really quickly with HIMS, between 24 and 48 hours. Oftentimes, you have an option for a chat box, depending on the type of condition that you're approaching HIMS for. Gen Z love chat box. I give you a hint, Generation Alpha will love it even more. Oftentimes, you have AI giving you treatment recommendations. We've heard of a CEO of HIMS, for example, talk about this when it's about prescribing, say, an anxiety medication. There's often mistakes that are made. The AI helps the provider not make any mistakes. The eDoctor enables clear pricing with HIMS. As soon as you open the app or the website, you have a rough idea of the price and the price of a medication that you may or may not be eligible for. It is the provider who decides. It is cheaper because of the bundle, because the cost of your drug also include the cost of your visit. And it is a time saver because most mild cases or medium health cases can be treated remotely quickly with an eDoctor, as I call it, a doctor that you access remotely. Now, the second benefit is that it's an eDoctor, of course, coupled with an ePharmacy. This is redefining the business model. Historically, pharmacies and doctors have been separate. Not anymore with HIMS. They are really the one of the only companies that I see pushing this offer together, the doctor and the pharmacy together combined. You don't have to understand these disparate industries. So why would you want to have a digital pharmacies? Well, it's quick with the deliveries today. You can get delivered quickly. You know it's in stock, and you're going to have a private delivery. You don't have to yell out your last name out of a window to try to get a medication like in the drive-through context. It's an opportunity for easy compounding. Not all pharmacies in the real world do compounding, or it's under very specific ways. HIMS Pharmacy allows them to do compounded drugs, compounded medicine, 500 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. That may not be what you need of that drug. HIMS gives you the exact amount that you may need. Oftentimes, the ePharmacy model, i.e. they own these automated warehouses. Why is that better? It's cheaper than copays oftentimes because you don't have that margin, you don't have that overhead, you don't have to pay for the building, for the expensive legacy warehouses that are spread across the country. Then the ePharmacy coupled with a doctor is once again a clear offering where you deal with one partner, one company, one brand, HIMS, and you don't have to deal with A, the local doctor, B, the local CVS or Walgreens, and C, your one insurance or your two insurances. Sometimes in the US you have two separate insurance, one for prescriptions, one's for health. Lastly, there is no upsells, no lines, no phone calls, no drive-through. If you've ever dealt with traditional healthcare, you know sometimes you got to make a bunch of phone calls to get a prescription transferred or to know if it's ready. There's upsells in the real world. You don't really have that online with a transparent pricing. And then no insurance. This is what perhaps surprises my viewer the most. Why would no insurance be such a benefit? Well, because when you deal with the insurance system, you don't have transparent pricing. Try to know exactly how much a prescription drug is going to cost you or how much a doctor visit is going to cost you with a traditional insurance system. It is very hard to find out when you find out about it. Often you get a surprise bill in the mail. Sometimes it's just a few bucks. Sometimes it's thousands of dollars. But either way, if you miss the mail 6 weeks later with the remainder that you have to pay, they'll send you to collections. This is the system that works right now. It's often cheaper than copays to go with HIMS because insurance companies have implemented a whole bunch of copays to get people to use them less. HIMS, because you don't have insurance, it's accessible to people who are uninsured through no fault of their own, maybe they don't have the right job, or underinsured by their own decision. The stealth IRA, the health savings account, a lot of healthy-ish employees choose to have a stealth savings account, i.e. a high deductible plan, one that will cover you for bad heart disease or a bad cancer, but that won't cover you for the tiny things of life. All of a sudden, no insurance, the fact that they don't accept insurance is a plus for you and not a minus for you because your job, you have a high deductible plan, you get a stealth retirement account for it. And insurance does not deny your treatment if you don't use insurance. How many times do you see insurance tell you, oh no, it's not accepted for that condition. Oh no, we're not going to cover it, right? That's part of a lot of a conversation with GLP-1s right now. Well, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about whether your insurance covers it or not if you don't use insurance at all. So HIMS is all of this. It's the eDoctors plus the ePharmacies without the insurance. That makes the business offer of HIMS very compelling, and I think they will be ever more ready for the future. Why? Because automation is a major trend. They have 2 major automated pharmacies, one in Columbus, one in Phoenix. They're expanding those, adding more products to them. Automation is going to lead them to get lower and lower cost. And if you follow Walgreens, if you follow CVS right now, you know they're not doing well because they're legacy companies. They're bloated. They're very large ships with a lot of debt that are not easy to steer, unlike an automated pharmacy that ships to the whole country like HIMS has. HIMS is AI ready. They've been working on their SaaS software. They're working on their health record management software. It's proprietary. It's their chat system, their app, the doctor interface, pairs with the prescription system, pairs with the clients, and that is inevitably readying the business for the day that AI doctors inevitably, in my view, become acceptable at some point, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years from now. But I think a company like HIMS will have that opportunity. And lastly, removing insurance and just creating a business that does not rely on health insurance, in my view, is a major selling point, because more and more these days, you will find that insurance go out of their way to not cover things. We saw this recently with the treatments for gene therapies for sickle cell disease. The first thing that insurance companies did was they rushed to not cover it. Same for GLP-1s. Insurance rushed to say, okay, well, GLP-1, you know what? Obesity is bad, but we're not going to cover that. We're going to cover it only for certain types of diabetes. We know insurance do everything to cover less. The fact that HIMS has a business model built outside of insurance is a major selling point. It's a modern brand. And as a result of that brand and that business offering, I would tell you that HIMS is doing very well. It is still consistently in the top 5 cheapest stocks on an enterprise value over revenue, over gross profit, over revenue growth basis. I ask the question, how much am I paying for each percentage point of forward growth? HIMS is one of the cheapest stocks that I own and that I see out there at a 0.078. The revenue keeps growing unabated, still predicted to grow revenue next year at 53%. Much of that revenue is recurring, right? Over 85 to 90%, more than 90% in certain reports of that revenue is reoccurring revenue. They have a little bit of a consumer product that's one-time sales that they sell at department stores and other sorts of stuff, but otherwise it's mostly recurring revenue. And you can see the EBITDA, it's the third quarter now that they have positive EBITDA. They have entered the famous J curve of corporate venturing. They've gotten out of the J curve. The future is bright. The future is cash flow. They've gone through that danger phase where the cash flow is negative. They are past that J curve. They are on the longer hand on the J curve. Growth is going to be very strong. There's many more products that they have to offer in addition to offering their existing products to many more people. More products on the one hand, more people on the other hand. You get 2 sources of growth in categories, growth in number of customers. That's a recipe for exponential growth. I love HIMS for all of these reasons. This was not investment advice. This is just entertainment, no financial advice. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.